Hiya. So on the 7th of February 2011, The Wizard of Oz started its previews at the London Palladium in London. And I was lucky enough to be able to go to one of the very first previews. I actually went to the third preview on Wednesday the 9th, and here are my thoughts. First of all, before going into any details, I just want to say that I've never really been a massive fan of The Wizard of Oz. I know loads of people kind of grew up watching it, and so the film and the show is very special to them, but I never really was a fan of it. I'd watched it before, but I wasn't a massive fan, a big fan or anything. So yeah, I didn't really have high expectations, to be honest. I was just excited to see what Andrew Lloyd Webber's done with the show because I knew he'd written a few new songs for it, and also I was excited to see Danielle Hope in the show because I saw her in the competition, the Over the Rainbow competition last year, and I really liked her, and she was my favourite, and I really wanted her to win. So I was looking forward to seeing what she does with the character of Dorothy. I knew it was a preview, and it was only the third preview as well, so I wasn't expecting much, and I knew that there was a chance that things could go wrong, and I wasn't expecting to go to a perfect show. But nonetheless, I have to say that I was actually surprised, and I enjoyed the show more than I thought I would. The show starts in Kansas, obviously, where one of the first songs that Dorothy sings is about how nobody understands her, and she feels like she doesn't belong there, and she just wants to leave, and all that stuff. And that's actually a new song that they've written for this production, and it's called Nobody Understands Me. And a lot of people that I talked to said that they didn't really like that song, but I actually thought it was a very fitting song, and it really sets the mood, I think. And I suppose it also in a way explains the character of Dorothy and makes us connect with her in a way, so that she doesn't kind of come across as some little girl who wants to run away, but actually comes across as someone who has a reason to want to leave. So I actually really like that scene. Then we move on to Dorothy singing the big number Over the Rainbow, which I thought Danielle did a really good job of singing. Although they used the short version of that song, which I thought was a bit weird because obviously that's meant to be like the biggest or the most famous song from this show, and I was expecting them to kind of sing the whole version and the longer version, but Danielle sang a short version of it. But even so, it was really good. Then slowly we move on to the Land of Oz. One thing that I really liked was one scene where, let me find, Professor Marvel is in it, who is played by Michael Crawford, who is absolutely amazing. And I thought that was actually a really sweet scene. Basically, the professors are trying to convince Dorothy not to leave home and to stay home, and that everything that she wants is at home. And there, the professor sings a song called "The Wonders of the World," and it's quite a sweet, also a bit quite funny song. And I really enjoyed that scene. Another thing I really liked was the way they showed the whole cyclone and how Dorothy goes from Kansas to the Land of Oz all of a sudden. I thought the way they portrayed that was really clever. After that, Dorothy wakes up in Oz, and that's where we first meet Glinda, which is played by Emily Tierney, who was an amazing Glinda. She has a lovely voice, and her first entrance is really, really good. I mean, she comes in with a really massive dress, a really sparkly dress. It's so gorgeous. It's just really good. I think that really worked well. And Glinda has blue hair, I don't know. She's got blue hair basically, which again looks nice. It makes her stand out and look really pretty, and you can't help but look at her when she's on stage because she's so sparkly and pink and lovely. And then gradually Dorothy gets to meet the Scarecrow, the Lion, and the Tin Man, who were all so good. I can't explain how great they were. I mean, the cast, I think actually the cast of this show might be the strongest point. Paul Keating, who was playing the Scarecrow, he really blew me away. He was such a convincing Scarecrow. I was just watching him and was like, oh my god, you're so good. I mean, he has a great voice, great comic timing, great acting. He was just perfect for the role. But yeah, the Tin Man, the Lion, and the Scarecrow were all brilliant. I can't fault them. Although one thing that kind of annoyed me a bit was in the Yellow Brick Road scene where Dorothy first meets them all, and they all have to sing obviously their little "If I only had a brain, if I only had a heart," blah blah. It kind of got repetitive a bit for me. But again, that might be because I'm not really a big fan of the songs, and that's obviously a song that's in the movie as well, so they've kind of obviously had to use it. But for me, it got a little bit repetitive. I enjoyed it nonetheless. Another standout performance in the show was from Hannah Waddingham, who plays the Wicked Witch, and I thought she was phenomenal. To be honest, I think even if you don't like the show, you should still go watch it only for Hannah, because she's just incredible. She's just amazing as the Wicked Witch. I mean, her acting is just great. She's so believable. Just any scene that she was in, I was just like, wow. And her voice is amazing. She makes the show, I think. There's one scene where she has to basically fly over the audience as the Wicked Witch, which I thought worked really well, because all the people in the audience were like, oh my god, look, the Wicked Witch is above us, and it was quite good because it got the reaction that they wanted, I think, from the audience. The first act closes with a song from The Wizard called Bring Me the Broomstick, which was very good. Michael sings it really well, and it kind of reminded me of his Phantom in a weird way. Not that I've seen him as the Phantom, but obviously I've got the soundtrack and stuff, so I've listened to it a lot, and his voice kind of reminded me of Phantom. I don't know, just ignore that part. But yeah, I thought it was a really good ending for the first act. It's quite weird because I actually enjoy the second act a bit more than I enjoyed the first act. I think there's more to the second act than there is to the first act, so it was more interesting. The Witch's Castle, where the witch imprisons Dorothy, looked great, I thought. It's very dark, and it's the lighting, everything's really good in that scene, and it really sets the mood right. And I actually felt sorry for Dorothy in that scene, and I didn't expect to, because I never thought I would really connect to Dorothy, but I actually, in that scene, I was like, oh Dorothy, I hope you get home safe, which is partly also to do with Danielle's fantastic acting. That I have to mention, because she acted the part really well, especially in that scene, I thought. And that's also where Dorothy sings Over the Rainbow again. Again, very nicely sung by Danielle. One thing in general that I just have to mention about the whole production is that the costumes and the sets and everything are really, really good. It's a very visual show, I think. Everything on stage is really, really cool. Although the costumes in the Emerald City were not nearly as good as the ones that the actors wear in Wicked, the musical. But that's okay. I can forgive them for that. That might also be because I'm quite biased, because I love Wicked and Wicked is my favourite show, but still. Also, another thing that I forgot to mention is that the whole Yellow Brick Road scene is done very well. They have like this little circle thing that kind of moves around, and that's where Dorothy walks on. And it's just done really well. Anyway, moving back to the second act, one of the very last scenes is where Dorothy sings a new song called As Good as Home, which was fantastic. I think that might actually be my favourite song of the whole show. It's a really good song, and it really suits Danielle's voice, and she sings it great. So yeah, that was one of the highlights of the show for me. And then obviously Dorothy goes back to Kansas, where she finds the ruby slippers in her wardrobe, and that's basically where the show ends. Overall, I thought the show was really good. I can't say it's a show that I'd go to over and over again, but I would like to see it again maybe in a few months' time, just to see the changes that they've made since the previews. In general, I prefer shows that kind of leave me thinking and leave me emotional and kind of make me feel something, and The Wizard of Oz didn't really do that. It made me feel happy, and I was smiling through most of it, but I didn't really come out thinking, oh, I learned something from the show, or the show changed me, or oh my god, I'm going to remember that part of the show forever. So it wasn't anything like life-changing, but it was a very good, entertaining show, I'd say. There were loads of kids in the audience, which turned out to be a bit annoying, but I did think it was cute that loads of them were like dressed up as Dorothy, and most of them had like Dorothy dolls and Toto dolls, and it was quite cute. I also don't want to say this, but the audience night I went were very annoying, in the sense that they were all clapping and singing along very loudly through most of the show, all the songs that they knew anyway, and it just felt more like a panto audience, to be honest. So I hope that kind of settles down in the future. But yeah, I definitely recommend the show to anyone, even if you're not a Wizard of Oz fan, like, because I wasn't a Wizard of Oz fan, then I still enjoyed it. It's definitely worth seeing, even if it's just for its amazing cast. If you do go to the show, feel free to leave comments on the video letting me know what you thought of it. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed my very unprofessional, kind of long, unorganised review of the show. I thought I'd just make a review, if anyone's interested to see what the show's about, maybe give a little bit of insight, and yeah, I will see you soon. Bye.